This episode is a long time coming. When we started this thing, we had a list of people we wanted to get on, and today's guest is one of them. Everyone, you know him from Netflix's Hip Hop Evolution. Give it up for the Canadian rap sensation. His new album, Tao, T-A-O, is out. Shad. Cool. We're good?
Good to go.
All right. First of all, Shad, welcome to Bothering the Band. Thank you so much for doing this. We're beyond huge fans. When we started this, you were at the top of our list to get on this podcast. And I'm not joking. So my name's Ryan. This is Abigail. She's the producer extraordinaire. Thanks so much.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that hugely. Thank you.
How are you doing today, man? That's how we like to start the convo.
Yeah, I'm great, man. It's Friday. I've realized through the pandemic, I have a real rhythm to my days and my weeks. Fridays I feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel social. I feel good.
Oh, we agree with you. We were just saying that earlier today. We're like, oh, it's Friday. No matter what happens, I was just having internet issues right before this, and I'm like freaking out. And I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. And I feel like on a Thursday, I wouldn't be like that for some reason.
Yeah, I never had that before. But now I know it's like clockwork. Like Fridays, I feel very social. Like I'll be chatty right now, like today in this interview for sure.
Oh, great. That's what we want, man. I brushed up on my Shad homework. I rewatched all the Hip Hop Evolution. So the first question I have to ask, what's the next step in Canadian hip hop evolution?
The next step in Canadian hip hop evolution is into, where are you based?
I'm in Florida. She's in Wyoming.
Okay, nice.
I'm from New York. I first discovered you when I was in Montreal. I saw, this is like 10 years ago, maybe. I was watching Much Music, and I dug, I think it was Rose Garden or something came on. I was like, all right, I'm on board.
That's sick. Okay. So I asked, by way of just trying to figure out how much context to give you, but long story short, since Drake, the game changed up here, like big time. Young artists saw no ceiling for themselves. When I started, it's not that long ago, really. But if you think about where the internet was then compared to now, it's just like what you imagine for yourself, right? So since Drake, things have changed. Young artists see no ceiling for themselves coming from here. They see no limits on their sound coming from here, which has changed in hip hop in general, right? But like Toronto used to really adhere to like New York boom bap fundamentals. That was like, can't stray from that. And now, of course, that's just not the case, right? So Canadian rap sounds like everything now. There's so much cool stuff going on, and people really getting in where they fit in internationally and on all kinds of levels that we never imagined for ourselves before. So, man, it's good times up here.
We get a lot. So Abby makes fun of me because we always say that there's the guests on the podcast. They're from three places. It's New York, Nashville, or four places: New York, Nashville, LA, and Canada.
That's awesome.
And it's predominantly New York and Canada. And I keep telling her, I was like, great music is coming from Canada. I can't help that that's who we're getting and who's agreeing. They're all nice.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anyone we should look out for? Like, Canadian rapper coming up?
Yeah. My guy, Toby.
We know Toby. Someone told us about him.
Yeah. There's Toby with the I. That's our Toby.
Okay.
There's Toby Nguye, who's from Houston, who's also tearing it up, who's very good.
Okay.
But Toby with the I is our Toby. He's really, really dope. Pavaya Mighty is really, really dope. Snotty Nose Res Kids.
Okay.
They're a group. They're a group from the West Coast. Incredible. Yeah, I would start there. You know, like those are all artists that are doing something. Like they're really good, and they're also doing something a little interesting. You know, a little bit different than what you might hear.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, good call. Good call. So again, good doing my homework, blasting and sending out your songs to people, being like, I got Shad on the podcast. Yeah, I get it. It's probably my favorite song. And so do you blog? Do you Twitter?
Well, now people don't blog anymore, I guess, right? Like I would be doing blogging.
Yeah.
I am on Twitter a little bit, but I still don't really get how it works. I'll just randomly, I mean, to promote, self promote.
Of course.
I will use it, and then also, especially during the pandemic, it's like I'll be watching basketball, but like by myself, you know,
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me feel like I'm watching with other people when I'm, you know, live tweeting the game or something, you know, and getting some interaction. It's kind of weird, but it's a pretty cool substitute for watching with friends. So those are my two main uses of Twitter is I guess self-promotion, live tweeting, like a surrogate for watching games with other people, and the occasional non sequitur, you know, like something
Mm-hmm.
fun in mind, the occasional non sequitur, I guess.
This is a perfect segue because we have some basketball questions. We're basketball fans as well. I am for that's our team, but you know, how stoked were you when the Raptors won? Like how important was that?
Man, let me try to paint the picture for you of Toronto when the Raptors won, okay? Because it was insane to the point where I almost don't even want to go through it again. Like it was so intense here. You know, we're not a winning city. Our Blue Jays won in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
The Maple Leafs, the hockey team, they haven't won since the 60s.
Oh wow.
You can imagine what that would mean to a Canadian team, biggest city in Canada. It's like if the Yankees had, it's akin to the Red Sox before they won in like 2004. It's like that. It's like it's a curse. You know what I mean? And that year, Golden State had, you know, they had the death lineup. So no one was expecting to win. We got Kawhi, which was a big deal. And so we're like, we might finally come out of the East. And then we've never had a player like Kawhi either. I was trying to prep people because I was a Spurs fan too.
Okay.
So I was trying to prep people. Like, you guys don't understand who we just got. Like, this guy he's sick good. Like, you don't understand. Because prior to that, we had DeRozan.
Yeah.
We had Bosch. Good players, but not that. So then when the playoffs hit and people were seeing playoff Kawhi, they were like, oh my God, like, what is this level of basketball player? Like, we've never even seen.
Well, Kawhi flies under the radar too. Like if you, even right now, especially, well, he's hurt, but if you ask like a casual basketball fan, name 3 or 5 of the top players, he would never make it, yet he is.
He is. And like watching the Spurs closely and seeing how he evolved, I remember the game where he went down, where he was beating Golden State by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when he went down. And so I was trying to prep him. Anyways, by the time playoff Kawhi comes around, it takes about a series for the whole city to get, the whole country basically to get on the bandwagon. Like, guy is going to take us to the promised land. Then the big tipping point was the shot against Philly.
Oof.
If you weren't watching by then, at that point, everybody was watching. Then we reached the finals, and Golden State has all these injuries. And it's like, and we have home court. And we're like, we might actually win this whole damn thing. And the energy was just psycho. To give you a sense, Toronto proper has like 3 million people.
Mm-hmm.
Greater Toronto area has 6 million. When the parade was going on, there was 3 million people in attendance.
Wow.
Downtown.
Did you go?
Yes.
Of course.
I went, but then I could tell, I was like, this is too crazy. Like I after about 20 minutes, I was like, we have to get out of here. Something bad is going to happen. Like this is too much energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was one of those vibes. But yeah, to answer your question, what was it like? It was like the greatest. Like,
oh man.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Like I'm jealous. Aside from the Yankees, I haven't felt it, but it's not as with the Yankees, they win all the time. So it's not as like,
that
exactly. Team. Yeah, man.
It was a release. Now, if the Maple Leafs ever won, I actually fear for the city because it's so much pent up. Like there's generations, certain fans, it's just like it's generations that have been waiting for them to win. I'm actually worried what would happen to the city. Like people would destroy it for sure.
It's a wild concept where I was in LA once when it was 2009 when the Lakers beat the Magic and they were flipping cars and I was like, you won. Like, why are you flipping? I'm like, you won. Do you think it would be that level of like?
To be honest, I would be surprised if the city of Toronto didn't have a budget in place for the destruction that would happen if the Leafs won. You would be unwise not to have tens of $millions set aside for the damage is going to be done. You can't control that energy. Like people are just
coming out. It's in their everything coming out at once.
They transmute all of their frustrations in life into that. Like there's no predicting what direction that's going to go in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an incredible experience for sure.
They have like a joyful carnage budget or whatever you want to call it.
Carnage budget, not sure if the Maple Leafs won. I was in Vancouver when their hockey team lost a Game 7 in the finals, and that was destruction too. There was massive fire downtown.
It's a wild concept. I don't.
It is weird.
That's crazy. All right. Yeah. Important question. Do you think you could beat Drake one-on-one?
I've thought about this a lot, obviously. And lately he's been working on his game. We've been seeing.
Yeah.
He definitely has the body on me. He's a good 6'2", 6'3", and he's jacked.
Yeah.
Right?
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'11".
Okay.
And definitely not strong. But I don't know if he knows how to use his body in the post. So his shot is improved. His shot is improved, but it's still, I'd still give him that jump shot. So I think I'd still let him shoot that. So I think one-on-one, I think I could do some damage.
Okay. So where everyone has a different like rule in pickup games. Where you're from, do you play ones and twos and threes, take backs?
We play usually ones and twos. 2-11.
2-11. Okay.
Winner takes it out. Now we don't play like I've seen some YouTube clips where guys play with this, this rule of like if you miss the shot, it's the other person's ball.
Okay.
We don't play with that.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I've seen that's kind of how the pros do it. The pros are kind of like when they do one-on-one, I've seen they kind of like if you miss the shot, that's it. Almost to like recreate a game situation where you probably won't get your own rebound or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do ones and twos, and winner takes it out.
Okay, what about if it hits the rim or if it airballs? Do you have to take it back, like beyond the 3-point line or the free throw line?
To me,
you got to take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
to me, airball, you got to take it back.
I agree.
No easy buckets. Like
I agree. That's just manners.
That's just manners. Although you can do the cheap thing to me of like getting the ball and like racing out and shooting. That's fair game.
What if you like touch the three with your tip and then like run back in while the other person's like not paying attention?
Yeah, that's cheap. That's cheap, but I allow it too.
All right. Well, you can come. I play in a league here in South Florida every Sunday. You can come play with us if you're ever down here. It's a bunch of old white guys who are real out of shape.
Yeah. That's my demo. Like I'm 39 now, so I'm not trying to play in the 22-year-old run anymore.
No, it's different. You go to LA Fitness or something, it's different. I can't keep up.
No, not trying to do that.
Oh man. Okay. So per black averageness, you don't like jazz?
No, I do like jazz.
Okay.
There's almost nothing that's factually accurate in the song. The sentiment.
Yes.
And the message. But I was a huge Bills fan actually growing up because in Toronto area, you get Bills games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have it. So that's true. No, I like jazz. I like jazz a lot.
Okay. I was like, what's the last poetry you read?
Oh. Last poetry I read, either some George Eliot Clark, who is actually this album of mine, and he was the parliamentary poet laureate in Canada, which is like basically our, it's an appointment you get every couple of years. They appoint like a national poet, basically.
Mm-hmm. It's so like our poet laureate.
Is a poet laureate, exactly. Yeah. Either him or a Canadian songwriter called John K. Sampson, who is most known for his band The Weaker Thans.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
In like the 2000s. So he has published some books of poetry and books with his lyrics.
Oh, I love The Weaker Thans. What episode? This is not the first time they've come up.
Okay.
What episode was it where they came up? I saw The Weaker Thans in New York once.
That's dope. Yeah, they're certainly influential here.
Yeah, they all right, so we're gonna stay on other Canadian. Well, okay, let me ask you this: what did you remember to do today?
I actually I wrote a post to kind of album promotion social media post all about remembering, because lately I've been thinking, I wasn't thinking about this when I wrote Remember to Remember, but lately I've been thinking about remember and remember, as in RE dash,
mm-hmm.
And how these two things fit together, how memory is part of, or the practice of remembering, is kind of part of putting things together.
Yeah.
So I've been reflecting a lot on that actually, and like writing a bit about that, and I guess remembering to remember that idea, how much memory is a part of forming. I was watching this documentary about memory on Netflix, some little episode about memory and how it works, and how bad our memory is, as human beings, and all that. And it was interesting at the end, their conclusion kind of centered around this one character in the documentary. Yeah, what they found, to make a long story short, is that his lack of memory made it impossible for him to plan the future. That was the biggest problem.
Oh, wow.
Because he couldn't envision anything, right? He couldn't envision the future. He couldn't plan for the future. So their conclusion was that memory isn't actually about remembering because it's bad at remembering. If that makes sense. It's actually about being able to live into the future. It's actually more about the future. It's more, that's its use, that's its purpose. Anyways, I've been thinking a lot about all that, you know. Not to take this too serious, but like, you know, I think there's a lesson in that for us at this point in history, at this point in our society, where we're trying to figure out how to put community back together and put society back together and put ourselves back together. I feel like there's something in memory that's going to be helpful for that. You know, there's some answer there. Part of the answer is remembering the ancient wisdom, or remembering who we are, or like some kind of practice of remembering, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
And to keep moving forward per what you just said about memory. That's brilliant. Do you do you keep like a journal, or do you like write in your phone? Like just practicality. What do you do, man?
Man, so I've transformed to writing on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it for a long time because for a couple reasons. One, the fonts, I don't recognize myself in the writing as much as my own handwriting. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like handwriting where you recognize yourself because it's like really your fonts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was something about that. Like at first, it made my words feel so impersonal and detached from me.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing that I didn't like about it was because you can backspace and erase. It's like you can. I found myself sometimes spending like 2 hours writing, but then because I've deleted, it looks like I haven't done anything.
Yeah, of course.
Demoralizing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus at least on the page, if you scratched over stuff, it's like you can see work has happened, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I've transferred over to the computer, and I usually write every like other day.
Oh, good for you, man. Good for you. I agree with you. That's what I do for a living. That's what I am as a writer. And I try to, it was a transition going from, very personal, intimate journal writing with, and then to, the computer, but just don't hit that backspace button so much, man.
Yeah. That's kind of key, right?
Yeah. Everything there are poems or stuff I've used for articles or something that are years, almost a decade old, where I remember it. I'll go back and try to find it. I'm like, oh, that's the line.
Yeah.
But that's
cool.
I'm not even trying to give you advice. Just don't use the backspace.
No, that is good advice. I've actually started doing that more. And then when stuff is good, I'll like highlight it and put it in bold.
Yeah.
So then when I'm going back through it, it's like I don't have to read through everything. That's like I can kind of focus on the stuff that's bold, because at the moment that struck me as kind of worth noting or whatever.
Do you make lists ever?
Only my schedule, like my daily schedule.
Yeah. A dumb question. When you made the song "Remember to Remember," did you ever get roped into throwing like Chinese stars or knives with lights?
No. Is that a thing she's into these days?
Look at her Instagram. I would say, especially beginning of COVID, it was like her in a probably her backyard, just throwing like those little star weapons, and then knives and all kinds of sword shit.
That's hilarious. Yeah, well, she has I know she has her and her family, they have a nice property and bit of land. So yeah, I could see her getting into some of that esoteric.
Yeah. I was like, I wonder if Shad got roped into like just going out and like, I don't know, throwing sharp objects at trees. If a very cute kitten bit you, would you put it down? Deep pull. We got a deep pull here.
See, my instinct would be yes, but I think I'd probably come around. I've never had a pet, so I don't have any kind of special affinity for animals.
Okay.
So I'm sure I would be upset in the moment and not understand what's happening. But then I think I'd be like, okay, you know what? It's cool.
Yeah, not like an old mangy cat, but like an
Yeah.
adorable kitten, you know?
Yeah. I'd come around and be like, it's cool. It's a baby or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Who is the best teacher you've ever had?
That's kind of an easy one for me. I've been lucky to have many good teachers. I'm just going to limit it to school teachers because I've had good school teachers.
Mm-hmm.
But one in elementary school, junior high elementary school, that was really great. And I got to see him actually the other weekend and got to tell him as much, which really felt good, you know?
Wow, that's magical.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you never know, right? You never know if they understand their impact, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That when I think back, he actually changed the culture of the whole school. Like the whole place was different once he was there, you know? It lit the place up. And, so I was glad to get to tell him as much. Like, dude, like you kind of changed everything, not just a few kids' lives. Not that that's insignificant at all, but like, I think you changed the whole environment. You know, when I think about being school-aged kid, it's like that was a good time for me, and I think anyone who went to our school because the culture was good.
Wow. Again, magical indeed. I am following that heavy with something real dumb. Lemonade with iced tea or cupcakes with ice cube?
I just like cupcakes more. I guess I like them equal, but I like cupcakes more.
Okay.
You know, so I think I'm gonna go with the cupcakes with ice cube.
All right, heard it here, folks. Cupcakes with ice cube. I picture him like pink and really like light, fluffy cupcakes.
Yep. And we're just kind of walking around LA, and just I'm hearing some stories about hip hop and NWA and starting out, and we're just eating these red velvet's cupcakes, maybe strawberry, and
and WC's behind you, just doing some little crip walk dance or something.
That's it. Exactly. The perfect day.
All right, I have to ask this. This is you'll have to read. I don't know if you can read. How do you say this word?
So I say it Tao in the context of my album, Tao.
Okay.
The Chinese philosophy, you would say Dao, but my album, I say Tao because it's
okay.
Yeah.
Well, you see where I was exactly what I was getting at. It's a fun word to hear, people say, and I'm sure had we not done that or had this been like a straightforward interview, I probably would have gone with Dao.
Yeah.
But I do know it's an acronym, for that's why you named it that too. So
yeah, I liked it being able to carry all those different meanings. But yeah, so I'm not mad at how anybody wants to say it. But yeah, for me, it kind of carries a couple different meanings, and the Tao is one of them. Tao meaning the way. But yeah, it's also the acronym for a couple of books that convert, in my thinking as I was writing the album. So that just both happen to have that acronym as well. And one of them talks about the Tao too.
Yeah.
So it's perfect storm for me where I was like, I like that title. It holds a lot of things, and the album kind of holds a lot of things. So, I mean, it was hard to come up with a title that fit, given the album is sort of about everything. So
you're such like a wordsmith and you're clever with the wordplay. Do you ever find it hard? Do you ever have too many options for like names and titles?
It's the titles. It's the hard part, right? Because the advantage with rap is you do have so many words, right? So you can go on tangent here and there and still make your point. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's not exactly like poetry or even other songwriting and other forms where, you know, you probably have 50 words in a song, and you have to make sure they're all, you know, fitting right and driving towards the meaning. So all that to say, titles are hard, because then titles, when you really have 3 words max to sum up something, you know, or to shape how someone's going to listen to the song, you know, frame it for them. So as a rapper, I find titling stuff harder because I'm used to having more words to work with, you know?
Yeah. We do a Monday night poetry Zoom with friends every week. We've been doing it for about a year now. And that's the one thing that seems to be the consensus you'll hear every week. Oh, I didn't think of a title. I got no title, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the title is hard because it frames how somebody listens to it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like Black Averageness was a really hard one to title because, well, averageness is not, I still don't really like the title, but it's just the other words weren't quite right, you know? Like mediocrity has too negative of a connotation. And then normalcy is like too loaded, you know, it's a value judgment. It's like you're saying what's normal, what's abnormal.
Yeah.
Whereas average has a bit of a funny connotation to it, which is good. I like, but it's more objective. You know, when you say something is average, you're not making a value judgment. You're just saying where it lands in the, you know, in the distribution.
Yeah.
So yeah, so all that to say, naming stuff is tricky, you know. You're framing it for people, and you know, it's hard to do that with your own work.
Yeah. Well, you can feel free to use joyful carnage, debt, or budget, or whatever we said about, you know, Toronto setting that aside. That seems like some sort of title.
It does. It does. Hey, you know who's interesting with that, is Paul Simon. So Paul Simon, he's such a great lyricist, right? That you would think, well, at least I thought he had a different approach, maybe like a classic poetry approach to writing songs, like a Leonard Cohen or someone like that. But he often starts with a title.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this song, Mother and Child Reunion, for example.
Yeah.
He saw that on a menu. There was a dish that was like a breakfast dish that was like duck and duck egg or something like that. And it was called Mother and Child Reunion. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a good song title. And then like wrote from there.
Yeah. I do that sometimes too with poetry, because I think of like these 2 words or 3 words put together is stronger. And I'm like, that's, and then I'll try to write towards that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever done that. It's always been like the title comes last, or the title out of the words, you know what I mean? Out of the lyrics. But I interviewed him for this CBC show. CBC's our public broadcaster. And I was asking him about this song called Wristband that was on his new album. And it's a very like well-developed song, well-developed concept. And he's like, yeah, wristband, you know? I just had that word in my head for like 3 years. Like I should write a song called Wristband. And then I was talking to this guy and I was like, hey, yeah, I've been trying to write the song called Wristband, or not even I've been thinking about writing a song called Wristband, but I don't know if I should. I don't know. And the guy was like, yeah, no, you should. And so I did.
I love how casual he is with it.
Yeah, literally carried it around in his mind for like 3 years.
Yeah.
Just like, I should write a song called Wristband.
It's almost like he was waiting for it to just come or evolve or
like he knew that was a song, Wristband. I'm like, that's not how I thought you wrote songs.
No, you think of him in a studio
Yeah.
I don't know, cuddling a guitar or something.
That's it, right? Like yeah, like he's so knowledgeable about so many different kinds of music. You just imagine, yeah, he's written this incredible, you know, chord structure or
Yeah.
something, melody with it, and then nope.
Oh man, you got to try it sometime. Try it. That's the other. Don't hit backspace and start with a fun title and then write backwards.
So my title like that for some reason is stuck with me that I feel is for an EP or maybe an album is Scones.
Scones. Okay.
You know,
Like
just
the pastry.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, you want to listen to an EP called Scones,
I'd love it.
right? Like you just it's just a good vibe. Like you want to put that on.
Oh,
7 songs, you
yeah,
know.
7 songs. I want to put it on in the morning.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, on a Friday, on a nice Friday.
That's it. That's it. You know what I mean? Just some like chill beats and rhymes, and it's called Scones.
Yeah.
You want that album. Like you want to listen to that album.
Well, all right. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Um, that's your next EP. I can't wait for like a couple years to go by. I'm like, he did it.
No, like legit, that's probably, you know, like
I love it.
it
We will
just
promote the shit
like,
out of it.
yeah, I just feel like that's what somebody wants to listen to, you know?
Yeah. How many hats do you have?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
My so there's a couple I have two that are like my collection
Mm-hmm.
that I rarely wear, you know. Um one is a vintage long bill polo canvas hat.
Mm-hmm.
The other is a very strange long billed 5 panel that's made out of like hemp or something.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like my collection. Then I have like this guy is like my go-to right now.
Okay.
Kind of a fall wool polo. And then I'll say I have a half dozen others in varying conditions.
Okay. I totally expect you to be like, well, let me take you to my hat closet.
Oh no, I'm not that serious about it. I don't have the energy to be like a real collector of anything.
Okay.
Yeah, like not a serious collector of anything. It just takes too much energy,
It does.
you know.
It
It,
definitely does.
yeah,
I have more. I have more hats than Shad does.
yeah.
That's in
I
compliment.
probably have nine. I probably just have 9 or 10. The other thing with being a collector is like so there's the energy involved, and then like I'm married, so like that
Mm-hmm.
has you know your partner has to be down for your that habit, you know, that whole aspect of your life. Like they have to be cool with that.
Yeah, indeed, I get it. Could be
You know,
worse things than hats, though. So if you
yeah.
ever, um,
No, like somebody who's not used to a portion of, you know, potentially their income going towards your hats, you know what I mean? That you don't wear, you know, that you just like keep is
yeah,
that might be a lot for someone.
I have a few Yankees hats that I only wear if I dress up. Those are my dress up Yankees hats. You know, I have a few. I have like the Expos, the white with the
Yeah.
red and the blue. I have that I only wear if it's a nice night out.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Like a nice Expos hat, for some reason, that
Yeah.
makes sense. That's kind of dressy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the white and the red, if you match it with something, we're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So this is my favorite question. And I wonder, I'm curious if anyone's ever asked you this question. How often do you get called Chad?
Very often. Very often. A lot. Yeah. Um, very often. I say Shad. Sometimes people are like Chad. Now, I never correct them.
Oh, you don't?
I just think I'm kind of juvenile, and I think it's funny when people say the wrong name. Like all my apps, like Uber and stuff like that, they're all Shade
Mm-hmm.
because I just like getting in the car and they're like, "Hi, Shade." Like, I
The
never type.
Shade is cool. Chad is like,
Yeah, Chad is like less cool. I'm always surprised they even just think that's my name. It's like, how could that be my name? Like, there's no way that that's my name.
oh man, I'm trying. I don't. Well, I'm trying to think of Black Chads.
Yeah,
Chadwick Boseman.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's a big
But
one.
I feel like even he probably insisted on Chadwick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I bet.
there's not a lot of just black Chads.
Black Chads. That's the name of a. That sounds
Also,
like the name of something.
that's the name of an album that like people don't want to listen to.
No, that's like your lame friend puts it on. You're like, you like scones? You're gonna like Black Chads.
Actually, plural, I kind of like it for some reason. Singular, I don't want to. I don't want to listen to Black Chad, the album, but I do want to listen to Black Chads. Maybe I do want to listen to that.
I would like to point out that Ocho Cinco's real name is Chad.
Oh, that's
true.
right. Good call. Now, right after this, I'm gonna think of like 4.
I get him in the video, like you get him in the video, you know, or he's just the album art.
Yeah, Black Chad. That's so great. Oh man. Celine Dion or Shania Twain?
I'm Team Celine, man. I'm Team Celine all day, all day. That's the greatest thing our country's ever produced.
Celine Dion, greatest.
Celine Dion, and she bridges the gap, man. The French English gap, generational gap. You know what I mean? Like Celine Dion is the greatest. There is a clip of her singing with Destiny's Child. They're singing Emotions, and it's like the greatest moment in our history.
I have to check that clip. We got to make a note on that one. Oh,
And it's Beyonce by the end. You know, like the other two have faded into the background, and it's just Celine and Beyonce just
naturally,
of course.
Of course. The queens.
Yeah,
the queen of America versus, the queen of Canada.
Exactly. Exactly. The de facto leaders of our nations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's been a Shania kind of renaissance in Canada lately. I don't know if it's happening in America, but people are like a younger generation is kind of saying, "Hey, like these Shania tunes are kind of hard," you know?
Yeah.
But I'm not quite there. Like I'm about Celine Dion's back catalog. Like it's hard. It is definitely hard, but Shania, I don't know. It's not quite my thing.
It just makes me think. It's like I hear Shania when I go to the grocery store, and then it's stuck. It's stuck in there for a good long while.
Yeah.
Mayo on French fries, yes or no?
I mean, everything on French fries is going to be fine, but no, like, frankly, no. Like, unless you're going to do some kind of garlic mayo.
Ooh, like an aioli?
Yeah, like an aioli.
Yeah.
Aioli is cool. Just straight mayo is a little, it's not super respectful to the people around you, I feel like, because that's gross.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially when people like it and they swirl it with the ketchup.
Yeah, I don't get that part.
Like, you're eating with other people. You just gotta,
It's a very Quebec thing to do all French fries come with mayonnaise there.
Yeah, because it's European.
Yeah?
European, yeah. The people I knew that would do it were Dutch.
Okay. That makes sense.
They were like that. In Netherlands, they would always do that. So I could see Quebec being into that. Of course, Quebec's classic thing is poutine.
Yeah, of course. That's
gravy and
Yeah, that's now like spreading everywhere. There's a poutine. There's like a standalone only poutine, different varieties place in New York now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they have like like 50 different kinds, and it's like as small as like a your kitchen probably, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah. No,
transcended.
yeah. That's our export. That's our export as far as food goes. We don't really have any exports otherwise for food.
Music.
Music we do, but not food.
Music is a big export, and we're starting to learn this. Do you ever get recognized on the street?
Yeah. So, but there's two different ways
Yeah, I
now.
was going to ask, well, how?
Pop evolution. So with music, the interactions are very normal. If someone recognizes me here for my music, it's like, yeah, like, oh hey, like I like your music, and it's a very natural. With hip hop evolution, and it's nobody's fault, but I know right away when they recognize me from that because they're kind of laughing at me because it's weird to see somebody not like bigger now, like not in the laptop size.
Okay.
They're kind of like they kind of smile, and then I like, oh, you know me from Hip Hop Evolution because they're amused by the fact that I'm life size.
That's one way to put it. Do they size you up, or they like?
They're just amused by that fact, and it's there's nothing you can do about it. You know, it's just like the human brain is. You get trained like that with TV. It's like if we saw, I'm trying to think of who, like Ross from Friends.
Yeah.
Like you'd know it's not Ross from Friends, but on some level you're like, it's very funny that you're on this street now because you live in New York with Rachel. Like I just know that like that's also true, you know? So I'll tell you a really funny story that happened on my street. So a lot of people don't know the hip hop evolution was made by Canadians, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on my street right here in Toronto, I'm walking past this person's house. They step out of the door and they look at me horrified. Like they look at me with a look of actual terror, like haunted house terror. And it was because they didn't know that I lived on the street. They didn't know hip hop evolution was made by Canadians. And because I don't have wardrobe, I'm just walking wearing the same things I'm walking and wearing in the show. So that person had just been watching the show before they opened the door. And then they open the door and they see me walking wearing the same clothes. And they thought they were losing their minds. They thought they'd gone insane.
Like, nope.
They thought they stepped into the show or something.
And did they say anything?
Yeah, because I was like, "Are you okay? Like, is everything okay?" They really looked scared, very, very scared. Never
They're
seen that.
seeing the matrix. They're seeing the ones and the zeros.
Yeah, I'd never seen that look on someone's face. Like they thought they were having a breakdown, and then
Wow.
like they apologized. They're like, I'm sorry for looking at you crazy. Like, do you host the show?" I'm like, "Yeah, I host the show." They're like, "Okay," because I was just watching the show. You were wearing exactly that, walking down the streets. So
That's wild.
I thought I was losing my mind.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wild. I can't even wrap my head around that, to be honest with you. It's the clothes, I think, that are the clinker there, where they're like, you were just on my TV or my laptop or whatever, and now it's the spitting image,
Yeah.
I would do a double take and I'd start pinching myself to make sure I wasn't
Totally.
losing it.
Totally. I thought that was so funny.
Oh man. You have a crazy resume, not only in music, but you have your master's. Um, if you were to go for a job, let's say you went for like a corporate office job tomorrow, what are you putting on the top of your resume?
I was going for like a corporate job.
Are you going masters? Are you going academia? Or are you going to go? Are you going to
No.
go notice and try to wow them?
Yeah, I'd probably go with the music and then try to talk up the transferable skills, you know what I mean? And be like, you know, it's all about, at the end of the day, projects and getting them done, you know, getting them done on a certain level, working with people, you know, and like, you know, and then I use the school thing as like a kicker, you know, just in case you're worried. Like, you know, I also know how to sit in a chair and write things down.
Yes.
You know, I've done
Diligence.
that.
Yes.
Diligence, all of that. In case you're worried, I can do that. You know, but that's probably how I would lead. I'd lead with that.
Well, let's hope you never have to go that way.
Yeah.
The world needs you for other reasons, my man. What do you tell yourself before you go on stage? Do you have any rituals or mantras or anything like that?
Yeah. What do I do? So I try to think about what kind, like how I'm feeling, what energy I have, what material I can really perform from my soul that day, you know, like if that makes sense. Like sometimes it's like I'm feeling it, you know, I'm feeling good. And so then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do high energy. It's going to be high energy. Other times, you know, I'm not feeling great. Let me tweak the set list so that I can ease into it a bit. Maybe axe any material that's like, just don't quite have the gusto to pull it off, you know? So I think about that. Then I think about what I think the audience is feeling, you know, and what they want. So is it a festival? Is it a club show? Is it a intimate show? Is it a bit bigger type of show? Is it my audience? Is it another artist's audience? You know, I try to think about what they want and where those two things intersect. And then those are the main things I think about. And then I think about just kind of to top it off, I guess I think about like generosity, you know, like let me give myself. It's my job to give myself first, right? Then maybe the audience will give me something back. But it's my job to, for however long I'm up there, give everything I got, you know? So to try to break down any of those barriers, you know, of nerves, of fear, of ego, you know, any of that. It's like, no, I have to, I'm there to give. Got to tear all that down, give them all the what I have to give that day that I feel intersects with what they want.
Wow, that's very hospitable is the word I went to, because, well, we started this just as music geeks, music fans, selfish music fans, very much, and it's amazing to hear that. We've heard this before, where it's like we want to give to the audience, and in that they give back, and the cyclical thing. But that's what every fan wants to hear, you know, no matter what. So that's I don't know. It just gave me chills. That's my 2 cents on that.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm sure when people listen to this, they're gonna nod their head at that. And then, what do you have any scars you're proud of?
That's a great question. Scars I'm proud of.
Physical or metaphorical or mental, whatever.
That's a really good question. Let me think on that for a second. Trying to think.
Yeah.
That's
First,
a real.
yeah.
Oh no, question. Let me take a second.
So that we stumped him.
Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, if I think about emotional scars,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blessed not to have too many.
Not even bad scars either. Yeah. Sometimes we have good scars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm thinking if there's any that I'm proud of, it would be scars from maybe wearing myself a little thin, trying to maintain relationships and care for people in different places. I've lived in different places in my life. Mm-hmm. And then physical scars, I got this on my wrist. I don't know if you can really see it.
Oh, yeah, now I got you.
Yeah. So like a lot of young boys, I like to play fight with my friends when I was little. But then me and my one friend, we started to take it to a whole other level with like weapons, basically, more or less. And like hit each other with chairs and stuff.
We were backyard wrestling?
We were kind of backyard wrestling. And then one time I ran upstairs. I was running away from my friend who was a lot bigger than me. 12-year-olds, like they can be best friends and one can be 6 feet tall and the other one's like 4'5", So I ran away from him. He's huge. And I went to my sister's room. I turned off the lights and I had her hair dryer ready to like scald him with. But he had a box cutter.
Oh my God.
So that's how I got that.
Man. Well, you guys are no joke. You're like, remember when you were a kid and you played with box cutters?
That ended that for sure. That ended that.
See, but however, at the time, I'm sure it was crazy and chaos, and you're like, holy, like whatever, stitches or whatever. But looking back, you're like, yeah, I'm trying to spin this positive. It is a positive because you made a memory with your buddy.
Oh yeah, it's like a super great memory, and like it was really fun at the time. Like I have no negative associations with that memory. Like we thought it was funny. I didn't go to the hospital because you're 12 and you just have adrenaline and you're just like, oh, it's hilarious. Like I've been bleeding for an hour, but it's fine.
You put glue in it, super glue. That's what you do. All right. Shad K, Canadian rap sensation. What's next?
Hopefully touring next year once it's a little bit easier to do that. But yeah, that's it, man. Nothing really.
All right. So everyone, go listen to his new album, Tao, Tao, and go follow him on Twitter during Raptors games.
That's it.
And then honestly, this has been like a bucket list thing for me personally. Looking forward to it. Like I said, I had some internet troubles right before this, and I was just like, you better freaking work. So I can't thank you enough for doing this on behalf of both of us and bothering the band. This has been a lot of fun, man.
Gladly. I'm glad it worked.
I can't wait for the bangers on Scones.
Yeah, Scones is it's nonstop bangers. It's just like 7-8 tracks of exactly what you want to listen to. That's all it is.
Yeah, well, stay with me here. Bangers in Britain is what? Sausages, right? So if we're going scones, we could do a lot of puns or play on words with that world.
The artwork makes itself. The video makes itself. It's just like
some sort of tea in there,
It's basically done. It's basically
it's basically done. You just got to do it all. And then I can't wait for you to produce Black Chads. That's the next. That album's gonna be fire.
That album's gonna be super fire, super divisive, but super fire.
Yes. Oh man, thank you so much. Everyone, give it up for Shad. Yeah.
No problem, man. Peace.
Yeah. So you've heard of black excellence.
Yes.
I love black excellence. It's excellent. Unfortunately, this is not that.
Jared Dudley.
This is something different.
Very median.
Check it out. I'm one of a billion, paying the bills, man. Bills fan, live in the building. My only drama's all my children. I'm chillin'. Not broke, not rich. Only chalet that we go into is sus. I relate to a Fred Van Vliet. I'm like, switch, sure I miss. Fish you basic, well it is what it is. Look, I say that I'm busy, not that busy though. I'm no Diddy, look at the video. Wifey work for the city, pensions litty. Y'all should retire. I do admire those who aspire, but I don't really. Not trying to be flyer. Canadian Tire, life for us is already often catastrophic. So shout out all my Africans that learn the data process to fatten up the pockets, deal with racist bosses. Stanley at the office, turn it off and watch this. Ball okay, only ball okay. I just want you to know that that's all okay. If you just rap okay, only trap okay, and you sing okay like karaoke. Say, okay. Say. I'm a bizarre person. I look regular like a LeVar Burton. More into the Star Trek than a star searching. Hard working, Shad is savage. Not a caddy, I'm just black with baggage. Daddy with a daughter, I'd be happy if she matched the average. People want me to be bad, but I won't. People want me to like jazz, but I don't. Wish I did, too many notes. Can I live at my crib? We just folks, I'm a man, why I wanna be a goat? I just wanna see us cope. We eat the stars that we broke. Like you either make them laugh or you're a joke. I'm like, nope, I have every right to be like a B or a C with a do-rag on while I ski. They don't get it, melanin, paramedics, dentists, dental hygienists, or delivering for UPS or FedEx. Pop said it. Ball okay, if you just ball okay. I just want you to know that that's all okay. If you just rap okay, only trap okay, and you sing okay like karaoke.